As we take the national anthem and then the future anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the 181st inaugural lecture of this great university, titled "Many are called, but few are chosen. Understanding the hide and seek game" by Adebola, Professor of Statistics. In tandem with the tradition of our university, this inaugural lecture will be presided over by our Vice Chancellor, the first female Vice Chancellor of this institution, Professor Adebola Oladiji, FAS. Madam Vice Chancellor, you are welcome. We also have other principal officers of the university here. Professor Sunday Samuel Oluyamo is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Development. Mr. Charles Olusegun Adeleye is the Registrar of the institution. The bursar is Mr. Peter Oshaduba. While Dr. Robert Akiade Awoyemi is the University Librarian. And of course, the Provost, College of Health Sciences, the acting Provost is Professor Victor Ukwere. Let me use my auntie to recognize the deans of our various schools, led by the Chairman Committee of Deans and the Dean School of Environmental Technology, Professor Isaac Olaniyi Aje. Professor Oluwatoyin Baramade Oludansi is the Dean School of Agriculture and Agricultural Technology. Professor Akin Olalekan Lawa, Dean School of Medical Sciences. The Dean School of Computing and a member of our Governing Council, Professor Boniface Ayode Aneche. Professor Peter Ayode Ofe is the Dean School of Infrastructure, Minerals, Manufacturing, Engineering. Professor Adebola Olajiko Melody is the Dean School of Electrical System Engineering. The Dean School of Health and Mineral Sciences is Professor Adeleye Rekini Biondo Anifowoji. While Professor Olayemi Olakayode Samuel Oke is the Dean School of Logistics, Innovation, Technology. Professor Michael Olufemi Ashamon is the Dean School of Life Sciences. Professor David Olarewaju Oke is the Dean Student Affairs. While the inaugural lecturer of today, who is also the Dean School of Physical Sciences, is Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola. At this point, I would like to invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Adebola Oladiji, for our welcome address. Madam Vice Chancellor.
Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics and Development, Registrar, University Librarian, the bursar, my lords, spiritual and temporal, top government functionaries here present, the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola, deans, directors, and heads of departments, particularly the Dean of the School of Physical Sciences and the head of the Department of Statistics, distinguished members of Senate and congregation, eminent scholars and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all with great pleasure to the 181st inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Technology, Akure. I also welcome our spiritual and traditional leaders, top government functionaries, captains of industry, staff, and students of the university. I am delighted to welcome the immediate and extended family members, friends, and well-wishers of the inaugural lecture. I felicitate Professor Femi Barnabas Adebola on this academic milestone. At this juncture, may I request the inaugural lecturer to please rise while I present the citation. Professor at the University of Ilorin, Kwara State, from 1997 to 2010, where he obtained PSc, MSc, and PhD degrees in statistics. Femi Barnabas Adebola joined the services
the Vice Chancellor, Professor Adebola, FAS, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Development, Registrar, other principal officers of the university, provosts, deans and directors, head department of statistics, other head of departments and units, professors and members of the university senate, members of the academia, administrative and professional staff, my lord spiritual and temporal, distinguished guests and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Futarians. I want to start the lecture by appreciating the master of the game and the game changer for his favor and for making it possible for me to stand before this district assembly that has come to listen to my inaugural lecture. Today is special to me because this event has strengthened my conviction that I belong to the academic community. Someone has well said that the delivery of an inaugural lecture by tradition is an academic debt that one owes as an academic when one has risen to the rank of professor. It gives me the opportunity to blow my trumpet intelligibly to this passionate audience of Tan and Gan. It is my chance to present my academic challenge and scorecard. I am therefore privileged and blessed to have this opportunity to take this time out. This is the first inaugural lecture from the Department of Statistics and the 8th from the School of Physical Sciences in our university. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and pleasure to stand before you today to deliver this inaugural lecture titled Many Are Called, but Few Are Chosen, Understanding the Hide and Seek Game. This inaugural lecture will not be well appreciated unless I start by driving through the world of uncertainty via statistics and sampling. The title of the inaugural lecture may appear unusual in the balance of our great university, but it is food for thought. The inspiration for this title was derived from the word of the game changer in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14, which reads, "For many are called, but few are chosen." The many represent the population, while the few is the sample. In the course of this lecture, I will provide details of my research findings and reports on the wisdom of making choices of sample from the universe and the technique of obtaining sensitive information, reducing diffusion and bias rate. Madam Vice Chancellor, my coming into the field of statistics and socializing in sample survey techniques and application were pure product of time and chance from the Almighty God. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 11 says, "I returned, and I saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happened to them all." In the first instance, my vision was to become an engineer. I was offered admission to study mechanical engineering through UTME and also statistics at the University of Ilorin the same year. I decided for statistics after carrying out casting of lots between the two courses. And to the glory of God, I never regretted my choice of statistics. Let me begin with a quote that tickles both the statistician and philosopher in me. Oswald George once said, "Statistics was the science of large number. Now, it seems to be becoming the science of no number at all." And Francis Bacon added wisely, "If a man begins with certainty, he shall end in doubt." This lecture attempts to answer timeless questions like, what is statistics really about? Who are statisticians? What is with all the sampling? And most importantly, how do we make sense of the data in our hands? As you will see, many data points exist in the world, but only a few get chosen for analysis. And so it is with life. Many are called, but few are chosen. Or in statistical terms, many are in the population, but only a select sample get to represent the whole. Madam Vice Chancellor, I make bold to say this afternoon that every member of staff employed and every student admitted here in Futa are at the mercy of statistics. Statistical biodata are prerequisite for employment and admission of few chosen out of the many applicants. Statistics everywhere, even when people do not realize it, from choosing the best membership joint to predicting election results, people practice statistics daily, some without knowing. Statistics is often described as the science of doing science, and perhaps the only discipline that interfaces with all other sciences. The most interesting part about statistics is that Discrete statistics tells us what we can see, while inferential statistics tells us what we cannot see. But first, we must sample wisely. Again, many values exist, but only a few are chosen. Questions involving research in the various scientific has inspired the development of new statistical method and theory. Madam Vice Chancellor, my inaugural lecture today is all about the development of statistical and sampling techniques and their applications. Statistical thinking is a way of thinking about a problem and how we think about applying statistical technique to solving the problem. It is more of a philosophy and a way of thinking rather than a mere methodology. Statistical thinking is not just a method, it is a mindset. It teaches us that all work occurs in a system of interconnected processes. Variation exists in all processes. Understanding and reducing variation are keys to success. Statisticians are curious creatures. We do not always have data, but give us a little and we transform it into insight. Statisticians are the proud guardians of both statistical method and theory. The statisticians are employed to seek to develop new statistical techniques and also to see how to refine the old ones to build new areas. Statistics, statisticians and data. The data we collect in statistics are called measurements. The sample is what we see. The population is what we do not see. Most of the time, asking everyone is impossible, so we sample wisely. From the above, it will be clear that statistics are computed from data. Whether you choose to call statistics data is up to you. But to me, they are estimates based on data and different from the data. Sampling and sample size. Sampling is choosing a representative to tell us about the population, like testing a spoon of steel to judge the whole world. Madam Vice Chancellor, I dare say every woman here is a natural born sampler. The pidgin does not lie. Sampling helps us to save time. It helps us to save resources and sometimes argument. But it only works when the chosen few truly represent the many. The right sample size is not a guesswork. It is guided by 5 factors: precision, standard deviation, confidence level, population size, and proportion. In short, not all small samples are same, and not all large samples are saviors. Precision versus accuracy. Precision means your results are consistent. Accuracy means they are correct. If you always hit the same round spot on a target, you are precise but not accurate. Unfortunately, many social media surveys suffer from this confusion. Whether in experiment, simulation, audit or survey, sampling is the beating out of all the approaches. My area of passion is survey sampling. That is where real people, real answer, and real problems meet. A sample survey is defined as the collection and examination of data from a sample in order to make inference about the population. Sample survey are powerful tools when well designed. They can be descriptive, that's what's going on. It can be analytical. Why is it happening? Their success depends on sampling design. Good questionnaire and data collection method. A poorly chosen sample is like asking only Arsenal fans if they enjoy football. Of course, the answer is skewed. Sample survey are commonly used to collect data for studies in wide range of practical applications, such as epidemiological, biomedical, and public health research disciplines, among others. The problem of sample survey are: 1. How to design a representative sample, how to minimize error of sampling at a minimum cost, how to obtain a high precision, and make correct inference about the sample population. We have the flowchart of survey and the keystone of survey: coverage, sampling, certification, response, and measurement. Then we have sampling techniques. The probability of sampling. We have probability sampling and we also have non-probability sampling. Now, non-response in survey. Sometimes people get missing, statistically speaking. This could be full refusal. When you ask somebody a question and the person refuses to answer, that's full refusal. That's we call it unit non-response. Or skipping tough question, we call that one item non-response. Reason rate from lack of time to outright dodging, especially when the question is, have you ever cheated? People try to dodge such questions. So when one demonstration tries to be in favor or against a thing, person or group compared with another, it's entirely called bias. Bias is not good for any research. A sample is biased if certain members are underrepresented or overrepresented relative to others in the population. We encounter selection bias. That is when you choose answer and suspension error when the question itself is wrong. Our job is to keep bias as low as NEPA light during dry season. Now, the error committed by making inference by surveying a part of the population is known as sampling error. Non-sampling error refers to all sources of error that are unrelated to sampling. Specification error occurs when the concept measured by a survey question and the concept that should be measured with that question differ. Now, ratio estimation. When you have an extra key, say a correlated variable, you can make a better estimate. That's joy of ratio estimation. Using one variable to sharpen the guess of another. But when topics get sensitive, e.g., sexually transmitted diseases, substance use, ratio estimation alone cannot save it. That is when we turn to a clever way around or work around it. Madam Ansa Solomon, my scholarly person has primarily centered on statistical design of investigation, particularly the area of design, analysis of experiment, and sample survey methods. Over the years, I have sought to contribute to the evolving demand of modern society by developing models that enhance data collection, estimation, and inference for informed decision making in a data-driven world. As the data age amplifies, data-driven operation, my research has concentrated on refining sampling techniques, especially in stratified sampling, ratio estimation, and anomaly response method. This works to increase the efficiency, accuracy, and reliability of data gathering, particularly where sensitive and biased threaten data quality. Many techniques are available for data collection, but only a select few, through rigorous refinement and the trust of statisticians. These are the chosen tools in the hand of those called to uphold statistical integrity. We have method of allocation sample strata, we have equal allocation method, we have proportional allocation method, we have optimum allocation method. Now, under method of allocation and sample strata, or Sugade and Adebola 2003, compare various optimal allocation procedures in multivariate survey, concluding that no single method is universally best. Each is conditioned by the nature of the data. This foundational insight laid the groundwork for further comparative studies, including Adebola and Adebola 2015, which identified the most efficient sample allocation method under specific conditions. Among many methods, it is wisdom and context that determines the chosen one, underscoring the theme that discernment, not abundance, leads to excellence. Through a series of studies, Adebola and Basi 2011, Adebola and 2012, Adebola 2012, developed novel bias detection techniques that produce Adebola ratio estimator. This estimator proves superior under specific regression conditions when compared to the 6 existing ratio estimator, particularly when t takes the value from 1 to 2 and n is greater than 8. While many estimators seek to minimize bias, only a few such as Adebola estimator are chosen by their superior performance. This distinction reflects how innovation emerges from rigorous score to solve real-world estimation challenges. Adebola and Basi 2011 carried out their derivation and comparison of mean square errors for several hundreds of bias estimator under regression model. Adebola and Sugade 2012 established the condition under which the new estimator is better than the existing one. It was found that the newly constructed bias regression method produced Adebola ratio estimator, which is superior to the existing ones in terms of bias and mean square error. Furthermore, Adebola 2012 employed Monte Carlo simulation approach to compare the performance of several approaches of bias ratio estimator and recommended the selection of Adebola almost non-bias ratio estimator under non-normal error regression model as the best estimator. Adebola and Adebola 2015 constructed a class of regression estimator with dual product estimator as its asset. For estimating the mean of the study variable using auxiliary variable, we obtained the bias and the mean square error of the proposed estimator. It was found that asymptotical optimal value of the proposed estimator performed better than other competing estimators. Adebola et al. 2015 also consulted a class of regression estimator with dual ratio estimator as its asset. It was found that the estimator performed better than other competing estimators. It performed in almost the same way as the usual regression estimator when compared to the usual simple random estimator for estimating the average shifting hour of undergraduate students of the Department of Statistics, whether investment of technology accurate, at 95% confidence interval. The proposed estimator performed better than other estimators. chapter 15, I want to talk about randomized response technique now. Luke chapter 15 verse 4 talks of leaving 99 sheep to find the lost one. In surveillance, we must go extra mile to discover the truth, even when the respondents hide it. In 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 1 to 7, Prophet Nathan employed hide and seek approach, that is parable, on King David over Bathsheba matter and got positive response. But in Matthew chapter 13 verse 3 to 4, John the Baptist used direct questioning approach on King Herod over Herodiah matter and got negative response. He was arrested and he later lost his head. In matters involving sensitive attributes, some people lie, others refuse to answer. That is where randomized response techniques come in. They allow people to answer sensitive questions truthfully without revealing their identity. That is hide and seek. So yes, people do tell the truth if you protect their privacy. One of 1965 introduced the brilliant idea using a random device, point blank. The respondent answer based on chance. This protects the privacy and still allow the researcher to estimate truthful proportions. It is like whispering your secret behind a curtain. You know you are being honest, but no one can trace it back to you. And in keeping with our team of many people outside there involving the one sensitive attribute, only a chosen few tell the real story. If the method is right, that is when you apply hide and seek approach. Madam Chancellor, let the game begin now. Game number 1. A significant innovation by Adebola and Adebola 2011 was the Traverse randomized response technique, designed to improve precision in survey involving 3 option sensitive questions: yes, undecided, or no. It marked a turning point in dealing with respondent honesty and data reliability. In tackling sensitive survey challenges, Traverse randomized response techniques emerged as the chosen path where conventional methods for TAC demonstrating that innovation and selection among the many. Adebola and Adebola 2012 compare our newly developed randomized response technique with that of Hussein and Shebi like autonomous randomized response technique and establish that the variance of the proposed technique is less than that of the conventional technique. Hence, our proposed technique is more efficient than the conventional technique. Using randomized response technique, Adebola and Adebola 2013 conducted a high response survey on the examination malpractice. We obtained 89% response rate using randomized response technique instrument and 70.75% from direct questioning instrument. It was discovered that randomized response technique was effective in reducing non-response bias. Randomized response technique outperformed the direct questioning technique, revealing hidden patterns such as higher malpractice rate among male and lower level students. Game number 2. Madam Chancellor, Adebola 2014 successfully developed a modified stratified randomized response technique for winners 1965 and Greenback et al. 1969 using optimal allocation. The empirical comparative study showed that our model is more efficient than Kim and Wade 2004 and Kim and Ella 2007 models. Game number 3. Adebola and Johnson 2015 constructed an improved version of winners model by integrating non-respondent follow-up sampling, reducing non-response bias significantly. We are able to conclude that the smaller the choice of K, the non-respondent so as to have the substance, the higher the gain in efficiency of the proposed model over the conventional winners model. Our new model has outperformed traditional counterparts. Game number 4. Madam Chancellor, to further reduce survey error, Adebola et al. 2017 developed hybrid Traverse randomized response technique and used it to assess the proportion of people belonging to sensitive attribute drug use disorder in Akure, Ondo, Nigeria. Game number 4. Using the proposed model, the proportion of people who belong to the sensitive attribute drug use disorder was 23.4%, 45%, with the variance of 0.0112. While using the direct method, it was set to 11.5% with variance of 0.1018. This shows that almost 1 in every 4 cases in the sample population was addicted to any type of drug. Therefore, the government was advised to ensure effective awareness of the danger of drug use disorder and thereby save the lives of the addict. Game number 5. Madam abortion and multiple sexual partners among women of Akure, the capital city of Ondo State, Nigeria, using improved randomized response technique for two sensitive attributes. Also, the direct method of data collection was used in collecting information on the two sensitive attributes. This were further compared with our model, and the results show that our model estimated 2% of the sample population that are involved in this abortion, 60% have multiple sexual partner, while 13 are involved in induced abortion as well as multiple sexual partner. This data also confirmed the fact that randomized response is far more efficient than the next method. Game number 6. Madam Saloma. Ewe Oje, Adebola, and Adebola in 2018, building on hybrid tripartite randomized response technique, developed a stratified hybrid tripartite randomized response model to address the problem involving estimation of population proportion of people with sensitive attributes. Studying the proposed technique under proportional and name allocation shows that the proposed technique is more efficient than SIG and Ori 2017, Tari and SIG 2016, certified randomized response model. We applied the proposed technique to estimate the proportion of people belonging to sensitive attributes, drug use disorder stratified by gender. Therefore, the model estimated the proportion of male respondents that belong to the sensitive attribute drug use disorder as 90.3%, while the proportion of female was estimated to be 4.9%, with variances 0.014 and 0.0137. This should be that 1 in every 5 male respondents, while 1 in every 20 female respondents were involved in drug use disorder. Game number 7. Madam Saloma. In advancing the area research, Ewe Adebola and Amaya 2019 developed the alternative estimator in the autonomous randomized response technique to accommodate unequal probability sampling. This excels in capturing more honest responses and perform better than under complex conditions. We have the percentage relative efficiency of the one demonstrated in our graph here. Madam Saloma, game number 8. Adebola and Adebola 2019 apply an improved randomized response technique for two sensitive attributes to investigate plagiarism and academic dishonesty. The model estimated that the highest level of plagiarism was recorded among middle career academics with 10 to 19 years of research experience. This work also revealed that it may be necessary to de-emphasize over dependence on certificate and journalism as main variables of promotion among academics, as this will reduce desperation among both lecturers and students. Game number 9. Adebola and Adebola 2020 developed an unbiased estimator using unrelated dichotomous randomized response to estimate prevalence of examination malpractice at the Nigerian university. Comparing the proposed method with the direct method, we found that the direct method estimated prevalence as 19, while our proposed model resulted into higher estimate of 23%. This shows that almost 1 in every 4 students is involved in at least one form of examination malpractice at the university. Game number 10. Madam Saloma. Adebola and Adebola 2023 developed the Bayesian hybrid tripartite randomized response technique to further minimize biases in solving. This method builds upon existing hybrid tripartite randomized response technique by incorporating prior information. The effectiveness of the proposed method was examined by conducting simulation study and comparing the performance of the proposed estimator to conventional ones. Results show that proposed technique is more efficient and reduce response bias in survey better than conventional ones. Game number 11. Madam Saloma, Ewe Oje, Adebola, Muleba, and Adebola developed a novel Bayesian estimation method for alternative tripartite randomized response technique. They accurately determine the proportion of individuals with sensitive hepatitis. This research demonstrated the efficiency of new Bayesian estimator across a broad range of population proportions. The finding indicated that, regardless of acceptability, the developed Bayesian estimators outperform classical estimators in capturing responses. Consequently, as the sample size grows, this Bayesian model becomes increasingly effective at identifying sensitive hepatitis. We show a graph here regarding 8 or 5 comparison of the two proposed Bayesian methods at different sizes. Game 12, which is the last game for now. Madam Saloma, We applied this method in a survey of 300 adolescents and young adults aged 15 to 26 in Kuta, South and North area of Akure, South Government area of Ondo State, Nigeria, to detect the proportion of adolescents and young adults involved in sexually targeted cyber threats. The estimate of the proportion of respondents who are involved in cyber threats were calculated as 22.4% and 12.0% for the proposed and direct method, respectively. 2 in every 9 adolescents and young adults in the area are involved in one form of cyber threat or the other. The variances show that there is less reliability using proposed method than using direct method. This corroborated the use of randomized response technique over the direct method. As the quality evaluation shows that there is 7.06% variation in using the proposed method, while more than double the variation, 15.67%, was recorded in using direct method. We have figure C, showing the comparison of variance between the first one, proposed one, and the existing one. Now, we have the final assessment. Madam Vice Chancellor, we also did some work under design analysis of assessment on prediction error variance. Madam Vice Chancellor, Adebola, Pastor of Bakwam, Police 2020, investigated how well an optimal design model could predict outcome of a two-variable quadratic regression model. We used prediction error variance as a measure and concluded that prediction error variance is useful for assessing the stability of optimal expected design for such models. Madam Vice Chancellor, Olamide, Adebola, and Pastor of 2021A expanded design optimization to models dealing with CAN data, specifically examining a two-variable Poisson regression model for A optimality within a constrained design space and determine the optimal design points with. Applying this concept to fertility study, the research indicated that women with at least second education considerably outnumber those with no education or primary education across various marriage situation and place of residence. Madam Vice Chancellor, Olamide Adebola and Pastor 2021B explored design optimization for one variable polynomial Poisson regression model for order 2 and 3 within the constraint design of 0 and 1, specifically focusing on the D optimization criteria. Using the imperialist competitive authority, they identified the optimal design and their weights. For the quadratic model, the D optimal design consists of 3 points, and with equal weight, while the cubic model D optimal design had 4 points, also with equal weight. The quality of this D optimal design was confirmed using the general equivalence theorem by examining the maximum sensitivity function for each model. Madam Vice Chancellor, Olamide Adebola and Pastor 2021C conducted a study comparing the design efficiency of D and A automatic design for Poisson regression model with 2 and 3 variables. Their findings indicated that the 2-variable model had higher efficiency than the 3-variable one. Furthermore, the A automatic criteria resulted in greater design efficiency for both the 2 and the 3-variable model compared to the D automatic criteria. Based on this result, the study suggests the 2-variable Poisson regression model, particularly when employing A optimality criteria. Grants. Madam Vice Chancellor, by the grace of God, I have been privileged to attract both national and international grants at different times, which are submitted substantially to my design university. Now, presentation of inaugural lectures in our university. Capturing information for immediate understanding is the core of statistics, and that alone makes it inevitable to all leaders over time. Madam Vice Chancellor, I want to showcase an example of significance of statistics to administrators with the use of relatable subject matter. Inaugural lecture in Twitter since its inspection. Inaugural lecture has gone over 4 decades in Twitter and can be a statistical representation. I have therefore added the statistical record of honor of professors this inaugural lecture from 1984 to date for results at a glance. See table 5 in the appendix on the book. I have gone ahead to represent 2 important information that I consider valuable. Number 1, the inaugural lecture by school, and the second one, the inaugural lecture by gender in table 4 and table 12. Madam Vice Chancellor, comparison between the school from the chart above shows that the school of of Futa until today because we have additional professors in Futa today. But before now, the Senate of Futa currently consists of 318 professors plus X, where X is the number announced today. 277 of them are males, while 41 are female. Holistic gender analysis revealed that out of the female professor, 41.5% of them have delivered inaugural lecture, while among male professors, 59.2% have delivered inaugural lecture, as shown in table 4. Madam Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the difference between the certain number of professors and the other number of professors in our statistical estimation is the margin of error. It is the error that the sergeant is necessary to minimize in order to arrive at optimal decisions. Madam Vice Chancellor, as I conclude, this inaugural lecture, I am recommending that every young person listening to me this day should endeavor to learn something about statistics as soon as they can. Dismissing this advice due to ignorance or before it comes to thought may have a phenomenal consequence in the nearest future. Ladies and gentlemen, do not pass totality without having examined these techniques and thinking about the possibility of its application in your field of endeavor. It will amount to an excellent substitute for your lack of experience in some directions and will directly impact your life, including your career progression. To my senior and older colleagues on various fields of endeavors, you may have already acquired many knowledge of success. Make it a point of duty for those under your tutelage and training to look into this subject matter. In this way, you will be able to benefit without stress. My dear wonderful audience, whoever you are, if your work calls for interpretation of data, you may be able to do without statistics, but you will not do so well for lack of basic technicalities. In my effort in this lecture, if my effort in lecture has helped you to have some measure of understanding about the subject, I am convinced you will appreciate me and forgive the bluntness of my advice. If not, do accept my apology for everything. Finally, let me thank Madam Vice Chancellor and all disciplined listeners by exalting the word of Florence Nightingale. An administrator will be more successful if he has practical knowledge. Nay, she went further to say, the universe evolved in accordance to God's plan, but to understand God's plan, we need statistics. Madam Vice Chancellor, something like life is all about choices. We cannot study everyone, but we must choose wisely. As Jesus said, many are called, but few are chosen. In statistics, the challenge is not in the calling, but in choosing. Choosing the right sample, the right method, and the right mindset. As I round up this lecture, I wish to submit that no work is completely free from errors, and this is no exception. If anything dissatisfies you, I plead for your understanding and forgiveness. Be assured that such inadequacies are of the head and not of the heart. I enthusiastically admit 5% error margin. Thank you. Recommendation. Below are my specific recommendations. The sample should be as representative of the population as possible. The more representative the sample is, the better. The government should encourage and advocate regular and proper data gathering that will always be beneficial for everybody. Research is the pursuit of the truth, and no truth can come out of false data. A lot of data are cooked up with various motives. There should be established law to discourage falsification of data that could definitely result in unacceptable effects. Most statisticians should be trained to acknowledge data integrity and sanctity. It is particularly important to keep quality records of past and present events in the life of an individual or a corporate body because this record might be the basis for forecasting the future. There should be enabling law to bring about strong collaboration between government, non-governmental organizations and universities in the area of quality and non-biased data gathering and usage. The government should direct our attention toward the establishment of regional laboratories equipped with state-of-the-art facility that will be used for quality data collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of decision making. I recommend the use of randomized response technique for sensitive research instead of traditional method, as this will always produce optimal results. The statistician and the data system to be acquired with deep appreciation and immense recognition to promote quality data gathering in the society. society. Government and universities should actively promote statistics by funding and creating enabling environment for the Department of Statistics to provide statistical assistance to the university community in research and academic planning. And finally, there should be enabling laws to bring about strong collaboration between government and non-government organizations and universities in the area of funding research, targeted and gathering quality data for better planning. Acknowledgement. First and foremost, I am grateful to my Creator, my mentor, my teacher, my Savior, who sampled me out for salvation out of numerous population of people heading for hell. He is the original game changer. His name is Jesus. I'm glad to join the psalmist to say, I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation. To my critics and motivators, I appreciate the numerous people on my way through this journey, some encouraging, others dissuading. The combination of the two brings out the best in me in this journey of my academic career. My papa and my mama, I will at this moment express my profound gratitude to my late parents, Pa Emmanuel Shehu Adebola, Amanda Elizabeth Omopariola Adebola of blessed memory, for their immense contribution toward my upbringing from childhood to adulthood. God used them to bring me into the field of the game. Their discipline, their love, and personal sacrifices cannot be underestimated. My father-in-law and mother-in-law, I wish to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, Pa Matthew Ujorobayo and my mama Millie Ujorobayo, blessed memory, for producing the finest woman that I later joined in the game. In particular, I thank Baba for all the love, the support, and kindness he showed to me. My siblings, let me especially appreciate Mrs. Adebola, our elder sister turned mother, and her husband turned father, Mr. J.A. for accommodating me and supporting my educational pursuit all through. I appreciate my other siblings and their spouses that are here, some are here now. Mr. and Mrs. Kosede Kasim, Mr. Olotoba Adebola, Mr. and Mrs. Olotoba Olajide, Mrs. Olufunke Ruth Olorusho, Mr. and Mrs. Michael Adai, Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Shola Adebola, Mr. and Mrs. Femi Akobe. I wish to appreciate the love and contribution of all my uncles, my aunts, my nieces, my nephew, my cousin, my brother, Miss Comfort Olonijolu, a cousin from London. And my in-laws, I'm incredibly grateful to all my wonderful in-laws. Present here is the Oloremi, Mr. Peter Said Olobayo. I appreciate you. Mr. and Mrs. Abiodun Olobayo, Kole Olobayo, Ayo Olobayo, Kola Bello, Isiefa, Adeyemi, Ayo Bello, Dakowolabi, and Prophet Hallelujah. My kinsmen and loving family. I should appreciate my kinsmen and loving family members for their support all the way. I want to especially appreciate the Adebola Olulori family. I want to appreciate the Olobayo family, the Toluis, the Tolowe Dogs, the Oloni Tolus, the Aidabaras, the Bellos. I want to appreciate Dr. Samuel Alori, the President General of the Nigerian Development Association, Pastor Mrs. S.S. Adebola, Mr. and Mrs. Alori and Ade Joshua, and Pastor and Mrs. David Okedegbe, Professor Philip Adebola, Professor Solomon Ajayi Adebola. My warm appreciation to my beloved brother, Pastor Raifel Abiodun Ayindabara, who supported me financially also in the typing and picking of my undergraduate project in the days of paucity of funds. God bless your family. Special thanks to my beloved brother, Wing Commodore Professor Adebola Adekokumoraye, my kinsman, my guardian, my mentor, who monitored my career with free interest and assisted me to settle down for business on gaining employment with Twitter. I want to thank my God-sent uncle and his amiable wife, Hilda and Mrs. Sholadare, who accommodated me upon my first arrival at Twitter. I really appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate the love and support of my beloved sister, Professor Esther Pinadi, and her husband for finding time to be here out of their tight schedule. I want to appreciate the former Vice Chancellor and the mentoring debt and provision goes to all the former Vice Chancellor, including the acting of this great university. I am indebted to Professor P.O. Adeni, who offered me appointment as assistant lecturer in 2004. Professor A.G. Daramola, under whom I serve as acting head of department, he was a courageous and goal-getter leader, proudly defined as a golden pen in the writing of Futa history. And Professor J. Fuakwe, who announced my leadership and my professorship. Thank you all. I wish to express my profound gratitude to the incumbent Vice Chancellor, the first female Vice Chancellor of Futa, Professor Adenike Temidayo Oladiji, under whom I am currently serving as Dean of the School of Physical Sciences. Your unique leadership style, steadfast dedication to academic excellence, crowned with unusual humility, is highly commendable. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to deliver the 181st inaugural lecture of this great university. I appreciate all the contribution of former and incumbent principal officials of this great university for their contribution. Most especially Professor Titi Amos, DBCA, Professor S.S. Oluyamo, DBCD, Mr. C.O. Adelaide, the registrar, Mr. Peter Oshaduba, the bossa, and Dr. Robert Awoyemi, Liberian, among others. My ambition will not be complete without mentioning the present past and members of the Committee of Kings, whom I am a serving member. Professor I.O. Ade, my chairman. Professor A.Y.B. Adebola, my middle past chairman, who read this manuscript. Professor O.S. Oludansi, Professor P.K. Okay, Professor P.K. Adeshe, Professor M.O. Ashamu, Professor O.A. Bello Lushoji, Professor D. Okay, Professor Oladende Simon Oki, Professor A.O. Lawa, Professor A.O. Melody. I thank you all for your support. The past deans produced from the School of Physical Sciences. After the previous deans of the Deacon School of Sciences, including Professor K.O. Okimoroto of Blessed Memory, Professor C. Wadedere, Professor I.A. Tuwape, Professor O.K. Koriko, and Professor A. Ayisomi for their diverse role in my career development. I sincerely appreciate Professor M. Adebola, former Dean of the School of Physical Studies in Futa, for his mentorship. I really appreciate the pioneer Dean of the School of Physical Sciences, the last Dean of the School of Sciences, and the pioneer Dean of School of Physical Sciences, Professor A. Ayisomi, my predecessor, for his support at all times. My gratitude goes to the following present and past subjects of our grade school: Dr. Ayode Sunday Apolabi, my current subdean; Dr. Bamidele Mustafa Husseini, my immediate past subdean; Dr. O. Oluwasino, the pioneer subdean. I want to congratulate B.M. Husseini on his promotion to reader this morning. I want to thank the entire staff of the School of Physical Sciences, currently serving with the dean. They include Mr. Adebola, the School Officer, Mrs. Betty Oladeji, my former secretary, Mrs. Rachel Owoniwa, current secretary to the dean, Mr. Kaode Shaba, Mr. Eniola Kiniola, Mr. Oladele Daramola, Mr. Olumide Adeleye, Mr. Bambe Babalola, Mr. Olufe Akikonde, Mr. Sunday Ayoyemi, my pilot. I have to appreciate the present and past esteemed members of the School of Sciences Committee of Heads of Department, Professor Okulu, Professor Abiodun, Professor Adebayo, Professor Falodun, Professor Oyinbo, Professor Olabode, Professor Adedeji, Professor Adedeji, Professor Adeoti, Dr. Egulusu, and Dr. Kwabobi. Many thanks to esteemed members of the School of Physical Sciences family, Professor Adebayo, Professor Pukola, and others. Futa Statistics family, let my charity begin at home by appreciating the love and support of my primary constituency, the Department of Statistics in Futa. They include Professor Adeoti, the current HOD, Professor Pasoroba, Professor Diboye, Professor A. Akomolafe, Government of Africa, Professor O. Alabi, brand new Professor Gayawa Esha. Dr. O. Ojo, Dr. O.S. Ewu Mode. I congratulate Dr. Ojo for promotion and adequate also. Dr. O.S. Makinde of Blessed Memory, Dr. P. Olopa, Dr. J. Ekukolusi, Dr. Mrs. Oke Oduwa, Dr. Ina Olamide, and Dr. O. Olamide. I appreciate Mr. Kodiosho, Mrs. Ọmọtọ̀ṣọ́, Kóyèjọ, Ọmọtóyè, Ògúnbọlá, Olúwadáhùnsí, L.C. Odo, Akówómẹ, Rita Ozuezi, E.M. Ibitoye, and Mrs. Yinka Fabi. General Studies family, Madam Bata Solomon. I am also blessed to have a second home housing my beautiful Ije, the General Studies family of Futa. My Ije title goes to them all, from their HOD, Dr. Taye Gulusi, the Olori Ebi, and all assistants. Madam Bata Solomon, in the course of playing this game, God caused my path to cross some special geniuses as team player. They are the few chosen among many to play the hide and seek game with me. I truly appreciate them all. On the list, I have Associate Professor Olusegun Iwemoje, Dr. Akin Adepetu, Dr. Nurudeen Adegoko, Dr. Joseph Olusi, Dr. Emmanuel Olamide, Dr. Olatunji Johnson, Dr. Segun Ojo, Dr. Adetola Adeniran, and Mr. Adeniyi Aiji. You have all demonstrated remarkable diligence, intellectual inclusiveness, and passion for discovery. Your innovative idea, rigorous exploration, and critical thinking ability has not only contributed to the success of our research, but has also pushed forward the boundaries of knowledge in our field in meaningful and significant ways. My special thanks also goes to all your spouses. Special thanks to all my academic mentees as listed. I want to appreciate some special friends here. Dr. and Mrs. Sylvester Olawale, Dr. and Mrs. Joseph Ishiolorokomi, Dr. and Mrs. Raymond Taiwo Liori, Dr. and Mrs. Samson Akumande, Catholic John Toluni. I appreciate friends and senior colleagues in Futa, Professor Esu Adewale Abikazim as listed. All my teachers, a resounding appreciation to all my teachers from primary to PhD level. You planted seed. This inaugural lecture is the harvest. To all my teachers at St. Andrew's Primary School, Kaba, I thank you all for very foundational motivations to strive for excellence. To all my teachers at St. Barnabas Secondary School, Kaba, thank you for challenging me to think critically and for pushing me to reach my full potential. I especially appreciate Mr. J.C. Stewart, my former teacher for one, late Mr. Chuks Abogidi, my physics teacher, and Mr. J.K. Obaromi, my principal through biology teacher. University of Ilorin, better by far family to Futa. I wish to use to recognize and appreciate all Ilorin alumni in Futa. We are truly better by far. To my Ilorin teachers, at the University of Ilorin, I met the regular scholar who later became my teachers and mentor, Professor Isaac Olayiwola Osugade of Blessed Memory, my supervisor. Professor O.S. Adeboye, Professor P.A. Oyejola, Professor Itijola Yemi, Professor R. Ekuyomi, Professor P.N. Adeleke, Chief Professor A. Adewala, Professor S.B. Adebayo, Professor Sidney Oyami, Professor Eko Adejumo, Professor G.M. Oyeyemi, and Professor A.A. Abiodun. At the University of Ilorin, I met with many scholars. We drank from the same fountain of knowledge, and we are now better by far. Some are here present, while some join online. I say thank you for your support. These are my classmates. Professor G.M. Oyeyemi is right in our mission. Dr. Bernard Muse, Dr. Sheyi Akiyemi, Professor Francis Babamide, Dr. Lariwe Pawaya, Dr. Femi Obafemi, Dr. Sheyi Ajao, Dr. Bishop Temilo, Dr. Mrs. Grace Kota, Dr. Yinka Polonso, Dr. Yusuf Yaya, Dr. Mrs. Olufunke Fajobi, and Lawal Adebola. I say thank you. To all my students, at the Federal University of Technology Akure, I met many brilliant students who have demonstrated remarkable perseverance and intellectual quality. I appreciate all my students, those here and those not here. To my spiritual family of the Redeemed Center of God that has made special impact in my spiritual life, I surely appreciate you for your prayers and love. I appreciate in particular Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Enoch Adega Adeboye and General Rashia. Pastor Professor Olamide Olumuyiwa, whom God used to minister salvation to me. Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Francis Oluwalade, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Ayolo Atusi, my current spiritual coach who is still here. Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Chris Ademoluti, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Akikola, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Joel Ojo, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Ebenezer Abudupe Kolawole, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Alex Oludipe, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Elijah Ologu, Pastor and Pastor Mrs. Bola Emiko, Pastor Mrs. Olatunde Adebola. Let me appreciate other members of God who I have enjoyed their fellowship. They include Pastor Mrs. Ako, Pastor Dr. Folashade, and Pastor Dr. Victor Ayodele, Pastor Mrs. Rafael Olokotui, Elder and Deaconess Scholar Dada, Reverend Professor and Reverend Mrs. Steve Nitiboba. Unilori Academy Mentor. Only remember is my MSc and PhD supervisor, Professor Isaac Olayido Osunbade of blessed memory. He was my mentor, my teacher, my destiny helper, and a perfect example of a forthright and disciplined academic. I truly miss him. Put our academic, Madam Asha Solomon, permit me to seize this opportunity to appreciate my mentor in this great standard of intellectual leadership. God gave the opportunity to interact with him, and I learned a lot from his wealth of experience. Professor Olupode Kolade Koriko. He has encouraged me immensely in this hide and seek game. I also appreciate Mommy Koriko. And as a matter of fact, Professor Olupode Kolade Koriko delivered the 81st inaugural lecture, while I'm delivering 181st inaugural lecture. Two key players that left the middle of the game. Madam Asha Solomon, let me sit down to appreciate my coach, Obi Olopeso, and my co-player, KJ Basi, who both left me in the middle of the game for greener pastures. Your contribution to statistics scooter are written in gold. God bless you for both for your support. Other key players that are left in the club, who has left the club to join foreign team but continue the game. I shall appreciate the following team genius player, now play at the national scene. As a Professor Olusegun Omoje from Botswana Club, Dr. Nurudeen Adegoke from Australia Club, Dr. Olatunji Johnson from Manchester Club, Dr. Olusegun Ojo from Spain Club, Dr. Adebola Adediran from USA Club. You guys are still the best. My landlord and my landlady, Madam Asha Solomon. I sincerely appreciate my landlord and landlady in Idia Street, Papa Ajayi of blessed memory, and Mama Ajayi who is present here today. They took us in and adopted us as part of the family. I enjoyed their peaceful and prayerful coexistence. God bless Mama for me in Jesus' name. My neighbor, Madam Asha Solomon, I sincerely appreciate all the landlords and landladies of Zion Golden Estate Akure under the leadership of Mr. Adebola. I thank you all for peaceful coexistence. Madam Asha Solomon, I mean also to use the way to appreciate the Federal University of Technology Akure for providing a platform for me to fulfill my academic career. With offsets of gratitude, I appreciate the management of the institution where I sat and assisted me as external examiner and assessor. Thank you for the honor bestowed on me to contribute to the success story of your institution. I thank you all. I recognize and appreciate all members of Ekiti State University Statistics Family, every led by my Oga, Professor Ayon Adeleke. God bless you all. I also recognize and appreciate all members of Owe Academic Forum and Owe Political Forum for your support. Madam Asha Solomon, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to express my appreciation to my God-given children, my sister-in-law, daughter, and to the Orewa generation, Oluwasemilore Babara, Oluwamorewa, and Oluwatomilore. I truly appreciate you all for your love and understanding. May the grace of Almighty God be sufficient for you always. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, as I wrap up this session, please join me with a loud ovation to celebrate the love of my life, the wife of my youth, my great teacher, and the angel attached to my destiny, Dr. Mrs. Olupode Adebola, with whom I have successfully this day and will always for this past 2 decades. Every day we choose a blessing. I carry this moment spent by your side. Each day you choose a wonderful outcome of God. My heart is grateful to the Almighty God for giving me the beautiful, authentic, disciplined, God-fearing, hardworking, loving, faithful, sincere, amiable, sanctified, and highly articulate. I am particularly it, our wedding will be 20 years. Finally, to all scholars and writers whose work I consulted, and also to those that I met during my exodus in acquiring central thinking, I sincerely say thank you all. Madam Chancellor, my colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for finding time to attend my inaugural lecture in spite of your busy schedule. God bless you all.
For this well-written and well-delivered inaugural lecture. I believe we all agree that many are called, but few are chosen. Thank you, sir, for making foot after. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is customary that when we have inaugural lecture like this, we recognize some people in our midst. I therefore want to use this opportunity to recognize some of our own. I recognize also one of the mentors of Professor Adebola, Professor is a former member of government. Thank you for coming and for sitting in your owner's corner. Thank you for mentoring Professor Adebola for us. We have in our midst also a former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Development in Futa, Professor Tolu Akimoto. Thank you, sir, for always coming. We have today another former government council member here in Futa, Professor Adebola. Professor Adebola, thank you for coming. We recognize you, sir. We have with us a former registrar turned a professor, my sister and friend, Professor Modupe, a former registrar, member of the authority. We have in our midst today a former acting university librarian, Professor Adebola. Thank you for joining us. We also have another former acting university librarian, Mrs. Zainab Falaye. Thank you for always coming. We have with us the acting statistician general, Bureau of Statistics, Ondo State, Mr. Olushola Ajayi. Thank you very much for coming. We have also with us retired Colonel Samuel Oladako Omotosho, a distinguished guest at this inaugural event. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We have a former journalist. We have with us also Professor O. Ogunwade, all the way from Entry. Thank you, Prof, for joining us. Also from the University of Ilorin, we say we are better by far. But now we say Futa is far better by far. We have with us a friend of mine, Professor Gafar Oyeyemi, is also active on the inaugural event. Thank you for coming all the way from the University of Ilorin. We have with us Nurse Adebola Omotosho from Adekiti. Thank you so much, Madam, for joining us. When a pastor delivers an inaugural lecture, you know that we will have a lot of pastors also in attendance. We recognize Pastor Ayodele Oluwatosi, Pastor in charge of Province, RCCG, Province 13. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We also have with us the RCCG National Secretary, Pastor Oladayo Adeboluti. Pastor Oladayo Adeboluti. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We have with us Pastor Modupe Kolawole, APICB, Ondo Province 19. Thank you, sir. We are happy to have you with us. We have also the APICB admin, RCCG Ondo Province 19, Pastor Alex Oludipe and his wife. Thank you, Daddy and Mommy, for joining us. We have with us Pastor Mrs. Martina Lamilekon, RCCG Church Growth Officer. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. We also have with us today the wife of APICB CSR, Pastor Mrs. Oluke Thank you, ma, for joining us today. We have the admin, RCCG on note 13, Pastor Olatunde Adebola. Thank you, Pastor, for joining us. We also have the pastor in charge of zone, RCCG on note 13, Pastor Jaye Oba Michael. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. We have other pastors, Pastor Franco Awoha, pastor in charge of zone. Thank you very much for coming. Pastor Professor Babalola Oyetayo, also a pastor in charge of zone. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We have Deacon Adebola Oluleke, he's from RCCG Ondo Province 13, the accountant. Thank you for joining us. We have Assistant Pastor Adakaye Babatunde, is the pastor in charge of zone. Thank you for coming. And we have the wife also of the pastor in charge of zone, Pastor Mrs. Adebola. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. We recognize all members of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. If you are from the Redeemed Christian Church of God, please stand up so we recognize you. Adebola, daughter of the Inaugural lecturer. Thank you very much. And we have with us John Adebola, the son of the Inaugural lecturer. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today somebody that the Inaugural lecturer described as his gatekeeper. He described her as the angel attached to his destiny. He went further to say that every day with her is a blessing. He described her as beautiful, authentic, disciplined, God-fearing, hardworking, and finally, unwavering. We have the best Mrs. Olufemi Adebola, the wife of the Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for staying with our inaugural lecturer for this past 20 years, he said. You have made a significant impact on his life. Thank you, ma'am. We thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I've often said, if I am the wife of a professor of futa, I will ask my husband to go and do that lecture. I want to see how he will describe me. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to recognize the most important set of people here in our midst. Great Futarians. You are the most important and you are the best. Thank you for coming.
Interesting, fantastic.
Great
We have
retailers.
been made to
Collect your
understand
titles
statistics
in the
in
hall
a
and
new way,
proceed to
and we really enjoyed it. Many are called statistics.
Well, I'm the retired Professor Jerome Omotosho, formerly the director of WASCA in Worcester, and formerly of the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science.
What can you say about the lecture, sir?
Huh?
What can you say about this lecture?
The lecture is fantastic. It shows for me, it shows the application of statistics to all spheres of human life. Very interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
By name, Akinwande Samson.
What do you say about this?
To God be the glory. I appreciate God on behalf of my friend. He has been my friend for a very long period of time. We grew up together, and to God be the glory. God has taken it to his own elevation, and we appreciate God for that. We appreciate God for that. Thank you so much. I'm Akinwande Samson. Thank you so much.
Well, the lecture basically reminds everyone to know the role and importance of statistics. Statistical analysis is a tool that everyone, irrespective of being educated or not, should know. Of course, it's very important that most of our students will engage themselves with this tool in their research and in their study. And that is why the inaugural lecturer made it very clear that even all the students is a tool that everybody must have handy. So as a professor, of course, I do encourage all my students to ensure, in fact, all their research work, everyone will have to carry out one form of statistical analysis or the other. Without it, of course, that component must be embedded in their dissertation.
Your name?
I'm Stephen Akinlabi,
Professor?
Professor Stephen Akinlabi, Professor of Mechanical Engineering,
Where?
Colorado State University, US.
Where?
Colorado State University,
Kogi?
USA,
USA.
United States of America.
All right, sir. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.